Durk, I've been looking at a lot of videos that's been popping out. Some videos coming out by a lot of lawyers, and on one channel they had the lawyer for Drake on there. So like and subscribe. I'm gonna break down what he said. So basically, for Dirk in this situation he's in, the lawyer for Drake, he's in Florida right now, where Lil Durk is locked up. He said that a lot of times, because really all they got on Dirk is that's what the lawyer was saying. The most horrible charges or situation that they got on Dirk is him trying to book those flights because it looked like he was trying to flee. But it's going to be hard for that to stand because Dirk wouldn't have known he was going to be arrested. How would he know? And then they have to prove that he knew that he was going to be arrested. How would he know? Maybe by TV, maybe he saw some news or something like that. Maybe somebody texted him. They would have to prove that he was able to know that he was going to be arrested for the situation he was under. But he wasn't. That they might not be able to prove that. And they say also a lot of times if you under federal watch or federal indictment, but they haven't indicted you yet, he said there's really no way of knowing if you're under federal law, if you're under federal watch. So basically, he said one way of finding out is by booking flights. And if you book a flight, then it'll ding the government and it'll say, hey, that person's on the no-fly list, or that person can't leave the country, or that person got a hold on his passport. So it'll be something that come up. So with him booking 3 flights, by the time he booked the third one, they arrested him. They came and got him. So he booked one early in the afternoon. Then he booked another one. All these flights was leaving the country. So one was going to be going like to, I forgot what they said, but the second one was going to be going to Dubai. And then the third one was going to be going to, well, maybe the last one was going to Dubai, and maybe he was going to Spain, and then another one he was going to some other country. But basically, these are non-extradition countries, so that means they will extradite you. So in that regard, it don't seem like he was trying to go and flee because these countries will extradite you. So they can't really say he was trying to flee unless he was trying to flee to a country that don't extradite. Because if you land in these countries, they could just call the police and they'll in those countries and they'll automatically arrest you at the airport. And there's nothing you can do. By the time your plane land, the cops will be waiting on the other side to arrest you in those countries that got non extradition. I mean, how much they got extradition. So he basically would have never got locked up in that scenario had he not booked those flights. But again, the lawyer for Drake was saying it is a great explanation for that because most times you wouldn't know if you're under surveillance, if you're going to be off, if you can't fly until you try to book a flight and get on it, and then the police move in. And dude was like, the only time that won't happen is if you been in the game for a long time. And now you got connections, you got people on the ground that can tell you like, hey, this what they doing with this case, this was happening with that case. And he also said that if Dirk wanted to get a bond, that it'd be better for him to try to wait and get his bond in California because that's where they ship him to when they extradite him. They're gonna ship him to California. He was like he could probably get a bond in Florida, but then the judges in California is going to try to stop him or basically go against his order, the judge's order to give him bond. So he might as well just bypass that part. Within another week, he'll be in California, and he can ask the judge and them up there, yo, can you give me a bond? You know what I'm saying? He might even get it because this again, the scenario of those guys using his credit cards, it's a lot of reasons why something like that could happen. And I was listening to Whack 100 earlier. He a rap commentator and everything. He said that maybe those artists that was the people in question was going down there to go to work, like do rap concerts. Maybe they was going to perform. Maybe they was going to do interviews or something like that. And when they got in town, this idea came to them, like, "Yo, let's go ahead and fucking do this thing, shoot that guy." But initially, they left town with the idea that they were going to a rap show or a podcast or a photo shoot. So Dirk might not know that when they got in town, this is what they changed their mind to go do, unless he was already initially set up and understood that they was going to do this initially. So it's a lot of those kind of things that they'll have to prove. Now, there's a text message that the lawyer was talking about. Drake lawyer talked about this on one of those American uh, Crime. I think that's the name of the channel. And he said, if Lil Durk didn't know that those guys was going to set up that crime, but he did text them, "Yo, don't put nothing in my name." He said that's not really a lot to choose from. A person can say those kind of messages, and that could mean a lot of things. And that's just one statement. If it was a slew of statements, 5 or 6 statements, but that's just one. Hey, don't let no cars or nothing like that be in my name. That's kind of cryptic because you really don't know what he's referring to. And even if he texts the actual guy who did all the purchase of cars, it could be related to a whole other situation. You know what I'm saying? But and then they say that Dirk was in town during the scenario, but he is a star, so it could be reasons why he was in town. Well, was he at the crime scene? No. But I feel like what Dirk made the biggest mistake in his little situation is he rapped about the guy murder after the guy got murdered. So Drake would make this guy would make songs and they would refer to the person who died. And the internet is really on top of that today. They playing everybody that all the songs that he did that in. So it's almost like he kind of told on himself. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of sad. But he a young dude, and hopefully he'll beat that case. I really hope he do because as a young man, he gonna miss a whole lot of money being locked up in some prison cell, and then the rest of his life he don't get a chance to get back to his children. He don't get a chance to get back to his loved ones. It's gonna be horrible. You know what I'm saying? You're $1 million man. You made millions of dollars. You worth millions of dollars, and now you fighting for your life. But Drake lawyer, and that's really what it is. Gonna come down to his lawyer being able to talk those guys out of not putting him in such a you know tumultuous situation. Because imagine it's a mandatory minimum of 30 years for that particular case. So that means when the police come to your cell or when they come talk to you or your lawyers, they're gonna say, okay, cool. Well, if you don't go to trial, we're gonna charge you 30 years and then you get out when you're 60 something. Because he just turned 32. So or you fight the case and then you facing a death penalty, or you facing what's the other one? Life in prison. So these are heavy things to think about when you're in your 30s and you was just chilling in the crib. It was pretty girls around. You had a chef at the house. You was probably in a fancy boat 2 weeks ago. Like this is really like something to think about. And then that particular young dude, Lil Durk, his whole mindset is, and you can hear it in the songs and in some of the interviews, is no snitching. I'm not snitching. I'm not telling on my people. I ain't saying nothing. You know what I'm saying? So that's another one of the levels of his mindset that he utilizes. And he raps about it. So it's not like he's keeping it a secret. He's not holding that down. Like, man, I'm not gonna tell nobody this. You know what I'm saying? This is just, he out there rapping about it, putting it out to the world. So it's like people get to make a decision and a determination behind that. You even got people like Charleston White saying, "Man, he a demon, man. He wicked. He was this. He was that." It's like you ain't even from Chicago and you don't even know, but it's your opinion. That's really ultimately what it is. Because unless you knew him particularly, you wouldn't even know his mindset. Then plus he's way younger. You know what I'm saying? So he might be in that little rebellious, wild style stage. Everybody goes through it at some point in their life. At whatever point you are, you might get into that little, woo. Then maybe I heard because he became a religious person and all that stuff after it. But then that just proves that he was becoming a new man. But then there's antics that he was a part of prior to his revelation. Now it's gonna come back to him. You know what I'm saying? Because the people standing around like, yo, we trying to lock you up. We trying to be on your head. And then come on, sitting in prison right now. It's been like a week or something like that. It's like, dude, it's probably like, hey man, get me out of here. You know what I'm saying? Call my people, look, bro, out of here. And they're obviously gonna ask him them questions like, yo, do you want to just confess? Do you want to tell on the people? And the funny thing about it is that when you like in a criminal enterprise, as they're claiming he's in, alleged, you know what I'm saying? You being a leader, they might not even want a deal from you. They might not even want you to be getting a deal. They might be like, nah, you is the main fish. This is who we was looking for. We want prison time from you. And the other guys who literally ran out and literally shot the guns will be the ones who get the damn plea deal. You know what I'm saying? And you sitting back like they lied on me because the person allegedly who rented their cars and the guns in the hotels, He used his real name on some of those transactions, on one of those transactions. That's the rumor, and which is connecting everything back to old boy's credit card, Lil Durk card. And then you got people online saying that Lil Durk wasn't the CEO of the company that money came from. Lil Durk was not even involved. You know what I'm saying? But that's evidence we just don't know. We don't know if that's true or not. You know what I'm saying? So we actually had to wait for the stuff to kind of play out, and then we'll be able to see a little bit of understanding on the reference of what exactly happened. But Drake lawyer was hitting some points, and he was saying that under the pretenses really just one charge against them, and that was the murder for hire. That was the murder for hire charge. But they got to prove that, and sometimes it look good in the public opinion with everybody chiming in, but ultimately it might be hard to prove, and that's really that's why he said he's trying to push for a speedy trial because maybe people might change their minds, maybe people might not be in town no more, maybe all type of stuff can happen. So the faster you do the trial, the quicker you can get things in and out the way. But if you make it linger 2 3 years, they got to sit in jail the whole time. They're not giving no bond. And I'm sure that that's nerve wracking as hell, sitting in the damn jail the whole damn weekend. I mean, months, rather, until somebody say okay. And like that lawyer he said going to court is for murder for hire could take 18 to 24 months. And he was like, that's the long to start your trial. 14 to 16 months on a if it's quick, if it's something that everybody could get their schedules around and start the process fast. He said, but that's really not a lot of time, and all the information and all the stuff got to be in by then. So it's like a lot of those old people say, trouble is easy to get into, but it's hard to get out of. So that's what kind of threw me off when you see him rapping in the songs. It's like, did he want to get caught? Was he crying for help? And so he was saying it in his songs like some kind of odd way where he wanted people to kind of understand what he was going through, or did he not just he wasn't going through nothing? He was just being on some dumb shit. Like it's something to really wonder. You know what I'm saying? Like because who would mess up their life with $8 million? Like, that don't even make sense. That's why a lot of times in my mind it's like I think those guys may have set him up, but you don't know. Like everybody's just alleging and speculating. Nobody knows. You know what I'm saying? But he was rapping in the songs about him getting retaliation. Uh, but don't mean. I mean, I'm sure if the prosecutors find that stuff, they're gonna try to connect it to him, and that's something that he probably need to be aware of. Like if they and all the rap youngsters, if they can connect it to something, they will. I mean, why not? It says everything will be used against you in the court of law. And they say everything. So that means your clothes, that means your fingerprints, that means your songs, that means your hair color. It don't matter what it is. You know what I'm saying? Everything and anything. So when they trying to prosecute you, they want to come at you with so many different daggers that one day one of them stick. So that I don't think that they understood that because they're a little younger and it was like fun and the fans loving it. It's just it was just kind of like the way rap had turned. Rap had just became that from what it was when I was young to what it was when they young. It was a transition, whenever the transition happened, and those youngsters had it at that point. And so if the leader or the biggest rapper of the youngsters' name is Lil Durk, then that's what it is. That's who he running. You know, but but the company you keep is gonna be critical too because if your people know that they could crash out and do something and be wild and it's going to affect you and they know it's going to affect you, you could have people that'll do that too. Like, no, man, I know this shit going to affect this nigga, so I'm going to do this shit and not even give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, sorry that happened to you, but man, I thought this and I thought that. And the real crazy part about it is that after they do crimes with each other, they never see each other again. They don't run into each other. Like, cause you imagine that you going to prison, and then he going to prison, and they gonna be prisons that's like so far away from each other. that they're not going to even be able to have a chance to connect with each other. You know what I'm saying? There won't be no way for them to run around with each other. You know what I'm saying? And talk again. So then it'll just be this question in their minds, like, did he tell? Like, who? How? What happened? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how did they know? You know, people probably have to tell you like through the grapevine, but family members got to hit you and say, "Yo, I heard this or I heard that." So it's a whole lot of that. But then I bet you if they facing such a long length of time, they probably don't even want to think about that shit no more. They just probably want out. You know, because imagine being rich and living at a certain level, and now you sit in a jail cell. That cannot be cool. I wouldn't give a damn who you are, from a celebrity to a rich to a regular person. Your regular life just swiped away in one day, in 1 minute. Maybe he was moving wrong, as they call it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he was moving suspectedly, where people start watching the movements and all that. That's what that, trying to get flights was all about. But nobody would know. Some other guys had a conversation. It was on Backfield, and their question was, did hip hop let down Dirk? Like, did the way hip hop had turned with it being the type of music that they was making and for the youngsters, was it a trap? Was it a way to just, you know, make sure they cancel each other out or something, if you will? Because, think about it. The record companies makes all that money after they hurt each other, and they get to have all of that money in the future. Like, no matter what happened, no matter who survived, the record company get to keep all the money that's associated with uh, those rappers. So who won? Who ultimately won? You know what I'm saying? The record company won because they didn't lose nothing. And no matter what happened to Dirk, whether he's in prison for the rest of his life or he could beat the case, the record company makes money all throughout the time of that interim. The tough times he's not able to perform or do shows, the record company still getting paid. And if something happened to him in prison during the time he's locked up, the record company still get paid. So the question was, I'm trying to see who asked that question. I want to say it was Black 100, and he said, "Why would that be something that?" No, it was Charleston White. He said, "Why would we blame the rapper when all these companies is making money off of their music? All these companies gonna make money off of the death. And if he knew that these people was violent, or if he knew that these guys was retaliatory, then why would they sign them? Why would they give them record deals if this was something that they saw?" So he was like that when we was young, they made the Crips and Bloods beat, like they unwrapped in rap music. I remember it was a Banging on Wax album when I was young, and they came from the West Coast. I think one side was Crip and one side was Blood, if I'm not mistaken. I had to be like 20, some shit like that, 19. You know what I'm saying? So that was mad years ago. And then you don't hear about those rappers today, like who they are, like, none of that shit. Like, you don't hear none of that stuff about those people no more. You know what I'm saying? So, like, they don't come back out and make updated albums and all that shit. It's just kind of like was a thing back then. So now you fast forward to the younger generation now, what he was saying. Charleston White was saying that now they made the younger gangs in Chicago famous, and they make money off of that the same way that they did with the California gang. So there's a lot of theories. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of theories. There's a lot of people wondering and questioning and trying to figure out like why all this happened and why this little guy had to go out so hard. You know what I'm saying? So many decades of his life is snatched away. You know what I'm saying? And and the question again, did the guy set him up? Was he a part of this? What happened? You know what I'm saying? Nobody gonna know, and we will probably find out ultimately, like over time, this stuff will be revealed because you got cases, what they call it, stuff like uh, Freedom of Information and Freedom of Information Act, where anything that happens in the courtroom, different reporters can act and request for that information to come out, and then they can even reveal it. That when they get the record, then sometimes they redact the information where they put black lines through the actual paragraphs that they don't want you to understand what happened in particular situations. But in that regard, they could at least grab the people information who actually put that stuff out here. And so that's from the courtroom. And so that's really what a lot of this stuff comes down to, man. They out there just trying to knock little shorty down, and his information that he put out there is everywhere. You know what I'm saying? It's just literally everywhere. And so he when you get online, even if you're just scrolling, somebody has put up his raps and the captions on it of him referencing the particular names from the particular crime that they said he did. So it almost begs the question: he couldn't have been a part of nothing like that, because what person would do that? Like nobody would, right? Nobody's gonna talk about the crime and the names of the people who they hurt in a song after the crime happened. That's not even logical. Nobody's gonna do that. So, and I think that's probably what he was thinking while he was doing it. Like, hey, no matter what, they'll never trace this back to me because I'm actually talking about it. Like, this can't be true. This can't be something that they'll think that I actually did because I'm actually just saying I did it. Yeah, and I was, and we knew what was happening there. Me and my friends, we was all about that. But they're not gonna actually think it was me. You know what I'm saying? Because I would assume that you wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like this movie that's playing out in real life, and the stuff that you're hearing is unbelievable, just like in a movie. Like, nah, that's unbelievable. I can't believe nothing like that. But it's real life, and then it'll be a long time coming before you actually know what was the reality about what he did or what they saying he did. But the lawyer that was down with Drake, and he's like some kind of guy that's in Florida. He was talking on American Crime, this YouTube channel, and he really was saying that the guy only got the case idea of his connection to the case. Durk's connection to that particular situation that he's charged is actually the trying to get a flight, and which ultimately seems like he was trying to flee. But the guy was like, in the world of law, the lawyer was saying that sometimes that's the only way to know if your client is under watch of the government. If he can get a flight, then okay, it's not no issue. Then he can just go where the hell he want to go. But if you book a flight and then they come and arrest you, then it's an issue. It's like, oh shit, what am I arrested for? Well, where you're under investigation for blah blah blah. But you wouldn't know that. He said the lawyer said you can't call the FBI and be like, hey, I'm thinking about going to London. Am I under an investigation? You can't call them and do that because if you're under investigation, they're not gonna tell you. So you have to go and book the flight. So that's why he said he think, and it's just speculation because he don't know Lil Durk. But he's saying that's why he believes that he probably tried to get more than one flight to see if one was going to hit. And then they said by the time he got the third one, the flight left at 9, but the U.S. Marshals had grabbed him at the airport before he boarded the plane by 9. So they got there by 8. So he was going to be flying out at 9. They called him at the airport at 8 p.m. And then he been arrested ever since. So, and that's why the news come out and it's like, oh, he was trying to flee. But the lawyer was saying it from a lawyer perspective, saying no, technically he was at the airport trying to see is it a warrant or is it some problem in his world. But as long as it wasn't, then hey, he gonna go somewhere. Because just think about it, if you don't know it's a warrant out for you, how would there be an issue of you trying to fly somewhere? You wouldn't know. You wouldn't know it's a warrant. You can't call the FBI and say, "Excuse me, I'm trying to fly somewhere. Is it a warrant?" Yeah, they put you on hold and get back to you. You wouldn't know if it's a warrant. So that means it can't be illegal for you to book flights, and it's not illegal to book 20,000 damn flights. If you got the money, you could have a fucking problem where all you do is book flights. As long as you paying money to the booking agencies or the airline, no one's gonna care. You can just keep booking flights until you fucking pass out, because you're paying for it. So book as many as you choose. The reality of it is, with the case being what it is, and him being black and everything, and the news media, everybody sensationalized the whole reality of the whole thing. It seems like, oh man, he was trying to flee. But technically, he might not have been it. He might not have been doing that. And there's only one way of really knowing. You had to ask him, and however long that's going to take. But I mean, to be facing the death penalty, it's so big. It's like, hey, quit even saying that. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's do the investigation. Let's try to break down what happened. Don't just be out there saying some death penalty over this. I mean, obviously, I'm sure it's real horrible that the other guy got murdered, and all the stuff that they went through with Dirk Friend too. So, it's just sad. You know what I'm saying? That because they so young, and I think I googled his age is like 31. He just turned 32 last week. I'm like, wow. And they talking about some 30-year minimum. Man, my God, it's like what the hell just happened? Like it's supposed to be like it's like a nightmare just kicked off. It's like wait a minute, ain't this supposed to be fun? Rap supposed to be beautiful and fun. Like what the hell just happened? So that's what he was like. The rap let down Lil Durk. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. I wish him well, and I wish all them young boys well because I know that they just really wanted to succeed. That was the ultimate goal. And then like when you were a younger guy, and I remember even being in high school, and that's way younger than where they are in their ages today. But I remember being in high school as a young man, and I remember younger guys wanting to tussle with each other from different class. So maybe the sophomores might want to rough up the juniors, or maybe the juniors is getting tussled with the seniors, and so it was a thing, and they would get with each other in the hallway and have a punch out or whatever. It just was a little thing, and so that's what when I initially saw what was happening with the guys, I thought it was that because I'm not in the era, I wasn't paying attention so much to their words and everything. But I just thought it was like that. It was a lot of testosterone. They all get money. Everybody is kind of like, what I'm saying, in the game, and they all get money. But then it started being, deaths and shit like that, and so everything turned bad. So it's like, oh fuck, it got real crazy. So but hey, man, y'all gotta let me know in the comment section what y'all think, man. It's like the biggest news in America. It's been like a week now, so it's just like everybody talking about it. Everybody trying to get down to the nitty gritty about it all. So you let me know what you found out about it, and let me know what you think about it, and I get